Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. The Mets lost today 3-2. My goodness, they had this game wrapped up. They needed 5 outs to get the game. Take the series from the San Diego Padres. Jose Quintana had pitched really well in this game. Pitched 6 in the third innings, did not strike out a batter. Amazing. And the Mets had 2 home runs in this game, 2 solo home runs by Martinez and Vientos. But the thing is that I sort of haven't really talked about, maybe I've talked about it here and there on the channel. But when you have young pitchers and young players, you never know how they're going to be when they're in the middle of a pennant race. And as you know, Jose Butto was in the first time he's ever been in a pennant race. And he really struggled with his stuff today. Now, perhaps a veteran pitcher that's been in the wars, has been in that spot, is able to navigate not having his best stuff and not giving up a home run to Profar. Now, Profar has been one big pain in the ass for the last few years for the Mets. He's been a Met killer, a major Met killer. We know he hit a home run in the playoffs 2 years ago. So he's been giving the Mets fits for a long time. But to talk about Butto, I've been sort of against the Mets bringing up Brandon Sprout because just because of this, what happened tonight. The fact that you have a pitcher who's a young guy struggling to get ahead in the count, not having his best stuff right out of the bullpen, you're asking so much of a young player in that spot. That's why it's so important to have veterans in there late in the game. Now, I'm not second-guessing Carlos Mendoza bringing him in the 7th inning and having pitched the 8th inning. But you need to know when to pull the cord. And also you need to know when to understand also that he's going through it for the first time. And you'll see with some players they're going to be, growing pains. But this is not a time for growing pains at all. So that kind of is what blew this game up. In my view, because they played great in this game. They played great defense. The infield defense on this club was terrific today. Francisco Lindor made a great play on I don't know what Jackson Merrill was doing, trying to steal that base late in the game. It made no sense. It made no sense. And that other play that Iglesias made early in the middle of the game, just so athletic and acrobatic. The one thing we do, and what's been interesting is how good the Met defense has been in this series, in particularly the infield. And that's the most disheartening thing, is how well they played in the game. Now, they only had 2 runs in the game. I'm not going to get too worked up about the offense. This was not on the offense tonight. This was on the lack of experience by the Mets relief corps. In particular, Butto, and then Butto Diaz just hung a slider. I mean, he just he's been throwing really great sliders all year. And he hung that pitch to Jackson Merrill, and that was it. And this was kind of like what I talked about. This is playoff baseball that we're dealing with, and you had a playoff walk-off in that spot. And the Mets could have gained ground on the Braves today. The Braves lost to the Nationals today. I guess down in Atlanta. And of course, the Mets would have been a game and a half behind and would have 1 game back in the loss column. Now they're back to 2 games back still in the loss column. Again, if the Mets are 2 games back in the loss column after the 3 games in Arizona, they're okay. Okay. I would also bring this statistic up. The Mets have lost the last 7 Sundays. So for the last 7 weeks, the Mets have lost on Sunday. I mean, what a very bizarre and quirky statistic. You don't normally see that kind of thing do that long of a patch. To lose all these games on Sunday. But see, the one thing about losing on a Sunday is you're playing a 3-game series. You either can't sweep a team, or you lose 2 out of 3, or in this case, you split a series. Last week they could have won that game against the Marlins. They They won 2 out of 3. They could have taken that one. This the last game in Anaheim. If they'd won it, they would have taken 2 out of 3 and be probably even in the loss column right now with the Braves. But again, like I said, the Mets are 2 games back in the loss column. That's the number you need to keep an eye on, more than really the 2.5 games. The half game is nothing. That's just the quirk of the season. They do half of games when one team's played more games than the other. But tough loss. Get them again on Tuesday when Mets go to Arizona. That's another huge series. All these games are big. It's just another lost opportunity down the road, during the season. But I would say the Mets have played really well this year. They've given us a lot of fun this year. I mean, I find positives in everything I watch with this club. So my attitude about the club is very different than most Met fans. But I always find the positive. And the positives here is they're still in it. And again, by my standard, they need to be 2 games back when they leave Arizona on Thursday. They'll play 2 night games and a day game, 3:30 here, time here in New York, and then they go play the terrible Chicago White Sox, who are basically the worst team ever. And that's not going to be easy. You got to be able to. You don't want to play down to the level of your opponent when you're dealing with a team like that. I would say I was very concerned going onto this road trip that the Mets were going to get swept in San Diego. That did not happen. But they could have taken 3 out of 4, and that's the most disheartening thing of all the things that has happened in this series. They could have done more. They could have done better. They've been a good team this year. They could have been better. But when you're a team that doesn't have as much talent as, say, other teams, you're going to blow games like this. They've been a good team. They've had good records. I mean, they won 5 out of 7 against the Padres. I would also mention that the Mets won 6 out of 7 against the Orioles and the Yankees this year. That's not something to sneeze about either. So, got to look at the positives. We'll get them again on Tuesday. I think this team's going to be there until the end of the season, to the last week. And they play the Braves and they play the Phillies a lot in September. 7 games against the Phillies. I believe 2 games against the Braves, I believe, off the top of my head. And they're right there. Again, they split the series with the Padres. They needed to take 3 out of 4 because they are chasing the Padres. That's one of the many negatives. They would have caught, had gotten a lot of ground on them if they'd done that. They just broke even from how the series started. Now they play Arizona. We'll see how they play there. But historically, they played well in Arizona, so that's a good thing. And then they play the White Sox, and then they come home. I believe they play the Red Sox next week. So it's a lot of good positives here. And if you don't know, the Red Sox are in a tow. Also, keep an eye on the Cubs. I don't know what they did today, but going into play today, they were 65-65. So they're concerned now more than they were. And the Giants are still there too. So we still have to keep an eye on those teams biting on our feet, Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And of course, this is the Baseball Hut. I want to thank you for coming by. And of course, hit the subscribe button before you go. Have a good day. Let's go Mets, and I'll see you later.